Moving into our next story of the day. It's truly unbelievable. We have The View here. Somebody left a comment the other day that more people watch The View on Republican shows than The View actually gets on their own show. And you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Honestly, God, I don't know why you'd watch The View other than calling out the hypocrisy here and just the asinine things that they say, which is what we predominantly do here on the Bob Brad Show. So The View host, Sunny Hostin's back into it, claiming on Tuesday that inflation was little more than a Republican talking point being used to distract people from the real issues facing Americans like abortion. Just, it makes you want to hit your head against the wall. It's truly mind-blowing that it's just a Republican talking point. Democrats are talking about it. It was 9.1, it's 8.3 now. I mean, you had lost roughly $4,300 since Biden's taken office. You're just, money's flowing out of your pocket left and right. It's truly crazy. Hostin, who just inked a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar deal to stay on The View. That just shows you how good we have it in America. That you can ink a multi-million-dollar deal to stay on The View. Just, it makes me wonder how much Joy Behar gets paid. I mean, she literally said, as a lady was stabbing another lady in the neck, and the cop shot the one with the knife, that rather than shooting the lady dead, that was literally actively putting a knife in the neck of another lady, to shoot her in the buttocks, maybe throw some warning shots in the air. These people are getting paid multi-million dollars to say this stuff. That's how we got it good in America. The fact that you got people like that signing a multi-million dollar deal with this whole thing. So we have this clip on The View. I got to show it to you. I'm sorry to put you through it, but it's important just to go through all the silly things that they mention here. And on one end, it's morning, and it makes you want to hit your head against the wall. But on the other end, it's important because it shows you where Democrats are at in their thinking. Let's go ahead and roll it.
I don't understand about the border, though. It's been a problem for decades and decades, across administrations, for as long as I've been alive, at least. If they are doing something, what I wish I could hear right now is just, hey, this is really complicated, but here are a few things we've done.
What's complicated about this? It was like the whole thing of when Karine Jean-Pierre the other week said that crime was complicated. No, it's not. You broke the law. It's that easy. In the same way, you walked over here illegally. It's not complicated at all. Build more border security. Build a wall. Get stuff out there. Maybe have better messaging. There's a lot of things that aren't complicated whatsoever. Look, the same people right here on The View that said Trump was an idiot. The guy isn't a good businessman. He's a dum-dum. He's a knucklehead. Whatever. He didn't have the same immigration numbers that Joe Biden has. So if he was an idiot, if Donald Trump, according to them, is an idiot, then how is it he had, in probably one of his worst times, 17,000 illegal immigrants in the month of August, compared to Joe Biden, who has 200,000 in 1 month? Same time period. Explain that one to me. But they can't. They can't because it's complicated to them. It's not complicated whatsoever. And I love how she's like, well, every administration deals with it. No administration in U.S. history since the founding of the Republic has seen numbers like this. So it's not like it's just a complicated issue. It's not like every administration deals with these types of numbers. No. It's just Joe Biden. It's just Joe Biden. And by the way, Democrats used to be against illegal immigration. Go listen to what Bill Clinton used to say back in the day. But all of a sudden they shift and now we got this whole problem. Let's continue.
Am I missing something? Because it feels like the administrations that get in there, they all dodge. They get in there saying they want to work on immigration, then no one talks about it. And we're all like, but we all agree it's a problem. What am I missing there?
Well, you're missing a lot here, dear, because Donald Trump did nothing but talk about it. I mean,
the huge, beautiful wall with the big doors that will swing open for you to come in legally. We would love to have you, but if you're coming illegally, we don't want you. And that's 13 gang members are coming across the border.
I mean, that's all he has done. That's why we voted for him, lady. Wake up here. Wake up.
Well, I think we've always talked about it. I mean, I think we certainly talked about it during the Trump administration when he was separating families and having children sleep on floors. And I think we're talking about it again.
Hold on. I know I keep positive, folks. There's so much content here. She's going to cherry pick and talk about Trump separating families when it happened under the Obama administration. Why don't you talk about that, Sonny? Why are you cherry picking here and just talking about Trump, who his job is to execute the law, whether he likes it or not? That's his job. Welcome to the executive branch, to execute the laws that are on the books, of which your dude put into place, Mr. Barack Obama. But let's cherry pick and not talk about that, having people sleep on the floors. There's literally images under the Biden administration of packing 400 people into a pod that only fits 150, 200. They're doubling capacity, sleeping on the floor. Why are you not bringing that up, Sunny? Oh, no, because it goes against your narrative. It goes against throwing your own party under the bus. They do the same thing with history as well. Oh, it was the Southern people that were the racists. It's the Southern peoples. No. It was the Democratic South. It was the Democrat Party that were the racists. Oh, well, the Ku Klux Klan. No. It was the Democrat Party that was the Ku Klux Klan. Let's be specific here. But they cherry pick. They redefine history in the same way that they redefine what a recession was, in the same way they redefine the relationship with Saudi Arabia. Common theme here, folks. Let's continue.
During when you have people like Governor DeSantis sending...
who's trying to solve it?
Well, what I'm saying, that's not solve. Solve is not sending families.
But we talk about what is going wrong, and that's an easy target. I could tell you...
Why is she calling out DeSantis for sending families? Joe Biden, for months, going on 2 years now, has literally flown illegal immigrants under the dark of the night to different areas of the United States where nobody knows about. At least DeSantis was like, hey, I'm going to fly to Martha's Vineyard and we're going to take camera crews with us. And by the way, the sanctuary cities, Joe Biden is literally just flying them anywhere and everywhere under the dark of the night. And they will literally land on the tarmac where there's no cameras, there's no lights. We actually have body cam footage that we covered here in the Bald Brad Show of a guy that was security for the airport going, who the hell are you? This is an undocumented plane, quite literally. They didn't have it on the books. And they parked in where there was no lighting. And the guy literally said, yeah, we're parked here because we don't want cameras. We don't want anybody to see us. I mean, you can't be any more clear than what the guy said on tape. It's just so baffling that people actually watch this and absorb it, just suck it all in. Oh, this is great. It's so great.
What's going wrong in every administration?
But the other thing,
and what
Sarah,
they're not doing
that they're
right.
saying is that you have people like Secretary Cardonas, you have people like Homeland Security talking about all the drugs that are being stopped at the border. You have Kamala Harris going not only just to the border, but also going to the countries where we're having most of the immigrants come. So they could be stronger in their messaging, but it's not that they're not doing anything. But I reject
They aren't doing anything. You going to other people's countries and having a conversation with the presidents and handing out cookies of what she did. We covered that like a year and a half ago. She handed out cookies with her face on it. And saying, oh, well, they're coming here because of climate change. That was what she said, because they're having tough problems in their area. There's so many other countries, by the way, in South America that you can go to. And I understand why you'd want to flee to America to have a better life. I totally get that. But there's a process and way of doing it. That's not asylum seeking to just flee from a country of which there's certain climate problems with. Okay, so she's going to say that they could be better messaging, which is true. But at the same time, how about locking up the border a little bit, more border security, building the wall of which Americans want? But she's going to sit there and show for this kind of propaganda, this misinformation. But I was told we can't do misinformation. I was told we shouldn't do disinformation. But this is going to be all over YouTube. It's going to be everywhere and just totally get away with it.
framing that the issue here really is about immigration and that the issue here is about inflation, because that's a Republican framing. Really, the issue here is that the Republicans misjudged the abortion debate. They misjudged it.
It's unbelievable. There you have it. Republicans talking about inflation is just a Republican talking point. You have to be so disconnected, you guys, from reality. You have to be so disconnected from actually what everybody's talking about. It's not just Republicans. I mean, literally, Joe Manchin himself talked about it. It was so much a Democratic talking point that literally they introduced the Inflation Reduction Act, lady. And by the way, it doesn't reduce inflation. I mean, all you could do is laugh, you guys. It is so mind-blowing that this stuff is out there. Multi-million-dollar contract for that. Boy, oh boy, do y'all feel better? Do you feel like you're getting what you need out of the view? And like I said, people just sit there and absorb it. Just, oh, it's so good. I feel bad laughing, but that's all you can do. It's comedy. It's literally comedy. So they went from the illegal immigration of like, oh, it's a complicated issue, and I feel like every president talks about it, but then they don't. They kind of just brush it under the rug. And then saying how inflation is just a Republican talking point and they really missed it on abortion. No, we didn't. We didn't miss it at all. That's the whole thing. Again, I know we're beating a dead horse with this. The abortion case was actually overturned because it was wrong with what the Supreme Court actually did in the first place. You don't even have to be pro-life. Again, this is coming from somebody that used to be pro-choice. I'm pro-life now. But you don't have to be either to know what the Supreme Court did on Roe v. Wade was actually wrong. Hell, going back to Griswold v. Connecticut, what they did was wrong. But with Roe v. Wade, I mean, talk about an overreach of the judiciary in the Supreme Court case of determining which trimesters you can have an abortion. I mean, it was an overreach. It was wrong with what the Supreme Court did. On grounds alone, according to the own clerks of the time, it was a wrong decision. Pro-choice advocates know that it's a wrong decision. Pro-abortionists know that it's a wrong decision, but it was a right, supposedly, folks, for decades. It was just a right that was granted out of whole cloth, and nobody can find it in the Constitution, but your right to abortion's there. If you actually pull out the Constitution, you will find it. You won't find it. And actually, if you read Griswold v. Connecticut and roll that into Roe v. Wade, you will actually see in the writings that it's talked about that you won't find it. But it's there, supposedly, according to all these leftists. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.